good night so far? Somehow I knew you were going to do that. Listen, if you don't get anything from what I'm about to say, just make sure that you get this. God, He is so faithful. When my mom was expecting me, she was also expecting a twin. And my dad was very abusive to my mom. Very, 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 very abusive to her. And he was so abusive that my twin died before birth. And I've never seen my dad. He was put in prison for everything that he did, and I've not seen him. I don't know what he looks like. I've never heard his voice. I've never heard my dad tell me that he loved me. I've grown up my entire life without an earthly father, I tell people, but I also say that's all right because I've had a heavenly father my entire life. When I was 3, I had cancer on the back of my head, and I had to go in and have surgery. And a few years later, doctors found a tumor growing on my neck, and so I had to go back in and have another surgery done. And around that same time, around the age of 7, 8 years old, doctors continued to run more tests on me. And they determined that around the same time that my twin died in utero, that I had suffered a massive stroke. The equivalent to somebody with cerebral palsy. And almost 1/4 of my brain was affected by it. And doctors said because of where the stroke is, and how much of the brain was affected, that I should not be able to walk or talk. And doctors said that I should not be able to read or write. And doctors said that I shouldn't be able to ride a bike. And doctors said that I should definitely not be able to play piano. But I say the great physician said otherwise. I shouldn't be here in front of you, but it's because of God's grace and His mercy that I am. And I'm not afraid to say that. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I suffered my first seizure because of the stroke. And doctor told me that for 6 months I wouldn't be able to drive or do any sort of activity by myself. I was going to have to be put on medicine for the rest of my life that would hopefully keep me from having any more seizures. And 8 months ago, I suffered my second seizure. And it was right after our concert. It was the last concert of the weekend, and we were packing up, getting ready to go home, and that's when I had it. Before I go any further, I'd like you all to know that the reason that you see me smiling and the reason that you see me so happy is because what you see me doing is, this is all I've ever wanted to do. This is a childhood dream I'm getting to live out that God has allowed me to do. And so when I woke up from that seizure, I was crying my eyes out because I was thinking to myself that it was over for me. I was thinking to myself that what I felt like God was calling me to do was suddenly put to an end. And I was so confused and I was so sad because I had no clue what the future held for me. But I was 100% sure that I wasn't going to get to do what I loved anymore. But can I tell you tonight that I have not missed one single concert with Legacy 5. And very quickly, I want to give an update for those of you who have heard my story, who have been praying for me. A few years back, I had a test run on the arteries in my neck to check the blood flow going to my brain. And the doctors came in and told me that Unfortunately, they were narrowing, and it was restricting the blood to my brain. And as time went on, they would continue to narrow, and my brain would continue to atrophy and shrink at a much faster pace. And there was nothing that they could do other than go in and have surgery. That was the only option. Well, I had an update test run a few weeks ago, about a month and a half ago. And I was sort of expecting bad news. I mean, I was just prepared for the worst, I'll put it that way. And doctors came in and they were amazed, and they looked at the report. And it showed that not only have the arteries in my neck stopped narrowing, but they have gone back to normal. Relieved is an understatement. God is so good. And He is so faithful. I've been asked to sing my testimony song that, if it's all right with you, I'd love to be able to sing it for you. Lately I've been looking back along this winding road to the old familiar markers of the mercies I have known. I know it may sound simple, but it's more than a cliche. And there's no better way to tell you than to say God's been good in my life. I feel blessed beyond my wildest dreams when I go to sleep each night. And though I've had my share of hard times, sure I'd change them if I could, but through it all, God's been good. Now times replay, and I can see I've cried some bitter tears, but I felt His arms around me as I faced my greatest fears. You see, I've had more gains than losses, and I've known more joy than hurt, as His grace fell down upon me, so undeserved. God's been so good in my life. I feel blessed beyond my wildest dreams when I go to sleep each night. And though I've had my share of hard times, sure I'd change them if I could, but through it all, God's been good. For God has been my Father, my Savior and my friend. His love was my beginning, His love will be my end. This is my favorite line right here. I could spend forever trying to tell you everything that He is, but the best way I can tell you is God has been so good, so very good in my life. I feel blessed beyond my wildest dreams when I go to sleep each night. And though I've had my share of hard times, sure I'd change them if I could, but through it all. Growing up without a dad, losing a sibling, cancer, a tumor, a stroke, seizures, medicine, surgeries. Through it all, not just some of it, God